Hello, welcome to Realms of Power podcast with Dr. Tony. Today I want to share the reason of why I think your power is important. We've talked about what your power is in the 12 different realms of the power wheel, and we've talked about how to apply that power wheel to your daily life. Today though, I would like to delve deeper into why that's important. And the 11th spoke of the wheel comes into your life purpose. So we're going to touch on both of those topics today. And I hope you get a lot out of this, because when you have the reason of why you want to have more power, or the reason of what your life is about and why you are here, that makes getting up in the morning a whole bunch more fun, a whole bunch more purposeful. And that's the purpose of today's visit, to inspire you, to empower you, to find that why, and to be able to share that with others. Now, the most important thing is that you have it right for yourself. And just by having it right for yourself, that lifts other people around you. They're carried by your energy. When you walk into a room, if your energy and power is high, other people feel that. Now, we could call that through the ether, through the realm of connection, of oneness, whichever words you'd like to use. If your power is down, what that does, it means that it affects not only you, but also the people around you and the world around you. That's very hard to measure, but I think it's one of the most important things to live a life on purpose. We talked about the big 4 wins of doing realms of power and the turning your tap on. And once again, they are the win from this is to be more authentic, just being more real. And that means having a life on purpose and being in your power. And what that allows you to do is to love what you're doing. Because if you're just at a grind, and if you're busy and working hard but not doing stuff you love, well, what's the point? It's very hard to have fun if you're not doing stuff you love. You can have moments, but I believe that living your true authentic self and doing stuff you love makes life worth living. What that does is creates more ultimate freedom. So you can have the freedom you would like, whether that's time freedom, money freedom, health freedom, relationship freedom. Because you're being true to yourself and you're in alignment and you have your power, you are able to access those things. So the 4th area we talked about is never needing to work again. And we live in a world of society where finances are important, to pay the mortgage, to pay the bills. But if the thing you were doing for exchange of finances was something you were truly passionate about, first of all, you just wouldn't feel like you need to work, because you're doing what you love doing and you're getting paid for it in whatever form that is, whether that's investments, whether that's business, whether that's working in a job you love, you absolutely love going there and being with those people. And that's really important. And ultimately, again, to create ultimate freedom, that exchange or that financial path to freedom you've created means you actually never need to work again financially. And you're doing it because you absolutely love it. That's one of the most ultimate metrics, that you're living a true life of purpose. To do that, you need energy, you need power, you need to be centered. There's not many people I know that are really well off, centered, powerful people that haven't worked at it. Sure, some people can get financial freedom through inheritance, but what I'm talking to here is the people that want to be true to themselves. And whatever the form you've come from, whether you've come from not much family money or you've had family money and inheritance, either way, you deserve to be here. So I'm not trying to single any one group of people out. It doesn't matter where you've come from. We all, at this stage in our evolution are going to die at some point. And once you've accepted that and realize you have a certain amount of time here, I believe one of the most important things is to have that time on purpose, being absolutely true to yourself. Now, the way society has worked, family upbringing, conditioning from school, from the political arena, and the governmental organisations, depends what country, of course, you've grown up in. However, I believe that so much of that societal condition has limited our power, limited our senses. And we have to find a way to remember who we really are. Remember the power you have. Once you remember the power you really have, you just need to access it and live it. Live in that moment, because that's the moment you do have power, in the now. But remembering the power you used to have and the freedom you were born with is truly one of the best steps you can go through. Also, if you looked at bending and warping time and accessing the future version of yourself, so many people have set up goals. They're like, I will be better when. I'll be happy when I've achieved X, Y, and Z goal. What if there was a way that you could imagine what that feels like now? Imagine the feeling you have of being in that state, of achieving that goal, of creating that vision. What would you be feeling? What would you be wearing? What would you be looking like? Where would you be living? What car would you be driving? How would you be talking? If you could access all of that in your mind, and rather than waiting for that to happen, just bring that forward now. Visualize, feel, create it from the first person viewpoint, that it's coming out of your eyes, that that's how you're living. And if you might believe in past lives, you might have lived a life before with power, wealth, freedom. Remember what that was like. Just visualize it. You might think that's really weird. But what if you could just visualize something to such a degree that you could feel it? And if you could feel it, what is stopping you from bringing that into your reality right now? We've had dreams. We've felt what it felt like in a dream, and then we forget. Most people forget their dream very soon after waking. But while you were in the dream, that experience felt very real. And so if you could remember and access those memories or bring yourself back from the future, that's a very, very powerful step in what we would call manifesting, to create the current version of yourself and bringing that forward into your reality. That's beautiful. That's powerful. And there's nothing stopping you doing that. I'm going to give you an example. Imagine you were traveling overseas and you were in a foreign country and they had a beautiful cathedral, an amazing old world building with huge doorways, massive arches, beautifully carved stone, phenomenal windows, an amazingly intricate floor, a painted or a domed roof. And you walked into that building, and it may have been built on a ley line or some special technology that we don't even know anymore. But you walked into that building, and I want you to feel the hairs on your arms stand up. Feel that feeling. And then out the front of that cathedral, they had a massive, epic pipe organ. And you can see the pipes going right up through to the roof. And the pipe organist walks up and sits down. And you already have anticipation of how that sound is going to go through you in this amazing structure. The sun is beaming through the rose-coloured light windows. There's something special about this feeling right now. And all of a sudden the pipe organ plays this note, and the depth of the vibration goes through you. After he's done his piece, the bells on the towers above ring and resonate through your body. Can you imagine that feeling? Now, I actually haven't been to one of those cathedrals or experienced that, but I can visualize that so cleanly that my hairs on my arms were standing up, the hair on the back of my neck. I felt a spine tingle just imagining what that would actually feel like. Now, how could I do that? I've seen TV and I've seen it, but I've never been there. So maybe there's some sort of past life brought forwardness. I don't know. Maybe there's some future access to a memory that I've had and I've bent time, but I could feel that feeling in that short visualization. So if I can feel that now, you could feel that too. Just listening to my words may have allowed you to feel what that feeling felt like, the resonance, the depth, the awe. Now, what if you could do that for your life? What if you could do that for accessing a future version or remembering, what you have been able to achieve in some way and bring that to your reality now? That will improve your power. And I said at the start of this podcast, why? Why would we want to improve our power? And if we could become more authentic and do what we love doing, create ultimate freedom and never need to work again, they're 4 really cool reasons, but they're just reasons I've outlined. What does it mean to you to have more energy, more power? As a chiropractor for many years, one of the main wins people get when I adjust their spines and create alignment is their energy and mood and sleep come up. Now, they were coming in probably for back pain or something, but when their energy comes up, when their mood comes up, when they feel more centered, they can achieve more, they can do more, they can improve their work, improve their home life, and they love that. It's one of the greatest things they share with me. When I've been coaching, and we did a sound healing workshop last night and breath work and meditation, and the people were in awe of just connecting to parts of their body they didn't even realize, whether that's releasing something or just accessing their power and energy. So there's definitely things you can do. And when you're more powered, you're more on center. And when you're more connected and on center, you can become far, far clearer on what your purpose is. Why are you here? What are you here to do? Now, I believe through either the societal conditioning that we have become so busy, so distracted, so attention pulled away from our purpose that most people cannot articulate their purpose. They cannot, in a couple of sentences, say why they are here. They haven't had time to reflect on it, or they may have known in the past and they've got on with their life and something else has come up and then they've forgotten or not focused on it. You get what you focus on. So if you can focus some time on your purpose, whether that's in your first morning thought, during meditation, in a quiet part of your day, or when you're on fire at work doing something you love, or doing French class, or doing a sport you love, or darts, or table tennis, or whatever pickleball thing you might want to do. And you're on purpose because you're not thinking, you're in the zone, you're in the moment. That's a beautiful place to be. Once you're more centered, once you're more powerful, that's when you really start radiating light and love and bringing up the people around you. And that's very hard to measure. You can't work out exactly how you've influenced other people through just your being, just your presence. Sometimes it's words, sometimes it's something you've said to them. Sometimes it's something you've done that they've just seen and been inspired by. We are all connected. And I believe that when we unite in authenticity of ourselves and a group purpose, we can achieve far more than we have achieved. We're in an amazing timeline. We're in an amazing space right now with technologies. We call it artificial intelligence, but the intelligence of the realm that we're in, that we have access to, and what are we doing with it? There's an overlay of distraction, whether it's wars, viruses, political unsettling, financial collapse, weather events, and all sorts of distractions and things taking us away from truly looking in, truly looking to ourselves and asking those big questions. Why are we here? What is this place? What are we here to do? Now, everyone's going to have their own unique answers, and that's okay. But the realms of power, purpose, is to turn your true aligned power on, to turn your tap on, to have you living a full and rich life, and to have fun along the way. Certainly of the qualities I aspire to, fun is number one, because if I'm doing this and not having fun, well, it's like a chore. I want to be having fun, whether that's with people around me, whether that's time with myself, whether that's with my family, whether that's with looking after my garden and house block, whether that's going in and adjusting my clients and helping them become freer, out of pain, more mobile, more connected to their body. If I'm not having fun doing that, well, I really need to spend some time and look at that and go, why am I here? What am I doing? I don't believe there's anything more powerful than asking yourself those questions. And your answers may well change over time. What if you could clearly say what your purpose is? My purpose is ... And that may change, that may refine, and that's okay. But that gives you unbelievable power because you are being true and aligned with your authentic self, and that turns your power on. This is stuff you do yourself. Now, there's many different techniques. There's many different ways you can come up with that purpose. You go, oh, I've tried that. I've written that down. I've done this course. I've read that book. There's many different ways. And one of my themes in this podcast has been to find accountability. Because once you've had those moments with yourself, to then share, to then talk with others and create a group, whether that's a group of 2 or 3 or a larger group, or come to seminars and find seminars of like-minded people and workshops and retreats where you can get clear on your purpose. People go, oh, I don't want to waste money on that. It's too much money. It's too much time out of my busy life. But what is your busy life? If it's busy and you're just not on purpose and not on power, what is the point? I challenge you to ask yourself that question. Now, in realms of power, there are 12 different areas. And some of those areas, if they're down on power, might well be holding you back. You might go, oh, hey, Dr. Tony, that's cool. However, I don't have enough finances, or I've got a major health crisis, or my relationship's breaking up. I don't have time to find my purpose, or I have to pay the tax bill, or I'll go to jail, or whatever the reason is. It's just a reason. It's just words. And words are powerful. They are a spell. So I say it's just words, but those words do resonate out into the world. Now, people say they're busy and then go and watch Netflix. People say they're busy and waste time. We all have 168 hours in a week. Some of that is sleep. Some of that is doing daily tasks. Some of that is work, maybe. But I'm sure that with discipline and purpose, you could find some time to work on your purpose if it's important to you. And that becomes prioritizing and focusing and doing that your way. There are, as I said, lots of different ways. But taking the time to do that is one of the most important things you can do. We talked about our heart power. The fifth spoke on the power wheel. And I remember hearing once, rather than using time as our measurement, we could use our heartbeats as our measurement. And we only have a number of heartbeats left. We don't know what that is. So what are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your heartbeats left? The time is now. Your heart is beating now. I believe studying your heart and the intricacies of your heart and the toroidal field of your heart and the vortex dynamics of your blood flow from your heart is one of the most beautiful things you can do. Understanding who you are, understanding how you work in this electromagnetic realm creates a deeper understanding to go, wow, it is time to find my purpose. There is no time like now. Eckhart Tolle wrote a beautiful book, The Power of Now, which is a deep read. Some great principles in that, some challenges as well. I'm not saying anyone else that's ever written a book is right or wrong. It's a viewpoint. But there is some truth in the only access we have is the now. So to bring forward the future version of yourself and to access the previous versions of yourself can only collapse, with our current understanding anyway, in the now. And I believe we're limited in our senses. That's why activating our pineal gland is so important. And accessing other realms, other dimensions, other portals. That's time well spent, whether you call that spiritual power, whether you call that esoteric understanding. There is so much we don't know. And so many people have spent huge amounts of their time researching and refining very specific areas. They have far more knowledge than I would ever have on one little topic. So we only have a number of heartbeats. We can only focus on so much. And if you're not clear on your purpose, it's hard for you to work out what you should spend your focus on. If you spend your focus on the distractions of the news or of the things that aren't actually important to you and you can't influence or access, or you choose not to influence and access, then you are living a life on purpose when you are choosing what to focus on, what your priorities are, what your purpose is. That's where your true aligned power lives. In accessing your truth. There's a model called the head, heart, gut model. And when you're making a decision, oftentimes we will think a lot in our head, analyze, and you can end up in what's called analysis paralysis, where you overanalyze everything. Then there is your heart, your feelings, how you feel about a certain decision. And then there's your gut feel, your truth, your inner knowing. To make a big decision, access your gut feel, your intuition. It knows the truth. Trust that. And use your brain, yes. Use your heart, yes. But on a decision, trust your gut. Now, you might have to make another decision in the future. Well, trust that And every time you feel you make a mistake or you've wasted time or you've got down on yourself, that's cool. Let that go and move on. Go to the next decision. Have fun with the next thing. Learn from it. Laugh from it. And hang out with people you love. Hang out with people that you resonate with. Pick up that heavy phone. So many people won't call, won't make the connection, won't have the time. But when they have the time, the people they love, generally they're having so much more fun. So in this playground where we can spend time with ourselves and get clear on our purpose, and then when we're clear on it, hang with the people we love, have fun, and share that purpose with them and live a magical life. I want you to turn your power on to its fullest. That has and is always been part of my purpose, to inspire and empower people to be well, to turn their power on, to turn their true aligned power on. And it fills me when I've been able to do that, whether that's chiropractic, whether that's coaching, whether that's running a retreat, whether that's coaching the football team, whether that's just hanging with my family and sharing over dinner, whether that's just with myself on my meditation platform, contemplating the world. That is living a life on purpose, my friends. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be awesome. Be well. See ya.